welcome to another episode of Ted's 10, the series in which I, a guy called Ted, give you my top 10 things of a thing. Yeah, it's simple. Much like you watching this video till the end and pressing that lovely like button. So today I am gonna give you my top 10 essential blues rock albums. However, first I must answer the pressing question, which is, what is blues rock? To be honest, this question isn't as simple as it seems. To the casual music listener, blues rock is just blues but played through heavy amplification. To the music scholar, blues rock is rock that is based around the blues scale, which, to be honest, is most rock music. So, where do I draw the line? I guess for me, blues rock is essentially music that's blues-based but targeted to a rock-centric audience. Albums with songs that have some 12-bar blues numbers and some non-12-bar blues numbers with a bluesy feel. I know I'm not satisfied in this definition myself. The other more on PC definition is white dudes that play blues too fast and loud. Basically, white dudes are too privileged to get the real feeling of suffering into the blues, so they bypass that by playing loud, fast and heavy. And I am aware this is a very white-centric list. Maybe in the future I'll balance it out by doing a top 10 proper blues albums. But anyway, here are my top 10 essential blues rock albums, and number 10 is Power of the Blues by Gary Moore. I admire Gary Moore a lot, but there's something that never quite satisfied me about most of his blues albums. Despite coming to blues after a decade of playing hard rock, it almost seemed like he had something to prove and went for these big, rich, soulful arrangements that didn't really work with his fast-paced, heavy guitar. However, on this album he seems to redress the balance. He recorded this album just after an album and a tour where he returned to his metal hard rock stuff, and the outcome music produced a much harder, heavier sounding blues album, which I feel blends itself to his guitar playing much better. He performs the same power trio as he did his previous metal album tour, and the outcome is an album that totally works. Everything sounds brilliant. The tracks themselves are far more riff-based, which ironically makes it sound like he's worked harder writing these songs than the blues songs he does with 20 other backing musicians. This is a fantastic blues rock album. Every track is heavy. Every track really sticks in your mind, despite not making a big splash at the time. This is a superb blues rock record. And at number 9 is Thickfreakness by the Black Keys. I remember getting this the Christmas of 2003 when I was 16. I had recently got Elephant by the White Stripes, and I was convinced that was going to be the best bluesy rock album of the year. Then I heard this and just wow! I mean, the indie stuff they did later isn't that bad, but I had to boycott it just because it just wasn't this band I fell in love with so much. It's a relatively short album, but every track is perfect. Every track that sounds so good. Yes, they're playing in a two-piece and there's minimal dubbing, but they rack up the reverb and chorus, which gives it such a beautiful, rich sound. It's bluesy galore, though there aren't any songs following the 12-bar pattern. There are songs that sound like Queen, Led Zeppelin, and even one or two more jazzy songs. The title track is just a joy on the ear, and I think this is an incredible album. To be honest, this album in particular is what should be thought of as blues rock. And at number 8 is Couldn't Stand the Weather by Stevie Vaughan. Stevie's first two albums were incredible, hence his first album being on my top 10 debut list. But for me, it's the second album from '84 which clinches it. You can hear his songwriting has improved exponentially, and although there are a lot of 12-bar numbers, he's no longer relying on the 12-bar idiom. There's the title track, which is a wonderful blend of funk and blues with a really inventive chord progression, and of course there's Cold Shot, one of his biggest hits, a very bluesy number that has a superb groove and it's as catchy as anything. And there's guitar playing to die for, including the opening track and uber fast instrumental called Scatterbutton, and there's also a gorgeous slow version of Johnny Copland's Tin Pan Alley, which goes on for 9 minutes, but you don't want it to stop. I love this album. And at number 7 is You and Me by Joe Bonamassa. Okay, off the bat, I'll say this, I am not a big Bonamassa fan anymore. The last 10 or so years, something seems to have got to his head and he's become a bit too pompous, and I've stopped listening to his stuff. However, this album from 2006 is the album that made him, and it is just the business. I mean, this is probably what you should call a straight blues record, but it's just so heavy, and from the opening track to the final track just keeps kicking you in the balls with this incredible sound produced by hard rock producer Kevin Shirley, and this is just an album which should sum up what blues rock is about. There are a lot of covers which Bonamassa, which with the help of Shirley makes his own and makes sound as essential to this hard-rocking blues record than any other track, and there are some absolutely wonderful originals like the barricading Hard Nails Walker Bridge to Better Days, and the slightly cheesy but just ever so enjoyable ballad Asking Around for You. Yes, this album perhaps broke Bonamassa, but it also made him a wonderful record. And at number 6 is Tons of Sobs by Free. If you watched my top 10 debut albums video, you would have already heard me talk about this album, so I won't go on about it too much, but this is just a gem of a record. It's by far Free's most bluesy album, and although they're so young on this record, it just sounds so mature. They could easily be old musicians. The vocals are wonderful. Kossov's guitar playing is just perfect. Not too fast, not too slow, just right for the blues rock idiom. And although nearly all of the songs on this album are blues based and 12-bar, the hooks come at you relentless. Brilliant songs, brilliant playing, such a wonderful album. And number 5 is Live Trout by Walter Trout. A common theme among these blues rockers is they play very fast. Walter Trout is the one guy that is in no denial of this and kind of makes it his thing. And this live album shows Trout at his absolute best. The energy of Trout and his band on this record is just relentless and infectious, and the show's guitar playing at its absolute best. Unlike many live albums, this is one individual concert, so from start to finish you get the wonderful idea of just how much power is in a Walter Trout show. There are straight upbeat shuffles, slow, dirty blues numbers, funkier numbers, and the odd ballad, including a wonderful version of Dylan's I Shall Be Released. This album is just like no other, an essential blues rock record. And at number 4 is Live in Europe by Rory Gallagher. I know in my other lists I have deliberately avoided live albums, but blues rock seems to be all about showing off your chops, and what better way to do it than a live album. And the second live album I've chosen on this list is definitely no exception. This is Vaughan this is Rory in his early days when he played in a power trio just after Taste, and the power and energy of these three guys is just incredible. The sound is just so raw from the opening lick on his guitar. You can hear the hiss from the snare drum, and the album continues in that vein. I can't think of a fiercer sounding album, whether he's tearing into Julia Rose's Messing with the Kid, doing one of her self-penned rockers like Laundromat, or closing the album with his then-to-be trademark cover of Bullfrog Blues. Just the power and sound of this album alone shows a band at the absolute peak. This is a perfect live album. And at number 3 is Second Winter by Johnny Winter. I mean, just wow from the opening lick on this album. You can tell he's got the bug in his hands and just can't stop playing his butt off. And every following track will prove, yes, this man can keep that energy up for a whole album. Like Rory Gallagher, he has the potential in his guitar playing to make you go, oh man! And this album is chock-a-block with those kind of licks. Whether he's playing slide or straight, all the guitar playing is on the far side, but his licks are just so tasteful. The songs too are great. The self-penned tracks stand out, and the and the covers he manages to make his own, like the superb opening version of Memory Pain. This is just an incredible record. Although with a title like this, it's slightly disappointing. It wasn't actually his second. And at number 2 is Tres Hombres by ZZ Top. Now, you should know I adore early ZZ Top, but it's the third album where the magic started to happen, and they managed to make what I consider a truly perfect blend of blues and rock. Part of the reason why the tacky 80s stuff was so successful is they knew how to write a damn good hook, and in the 1973 3-album Tres Hombres, it was also obvious they could do that over blues-based music too. There are tracks like Waiting for the Bus and Beardwickers and Hellraisers, which are straight 12-bar numbers, but so tightly written and so based around riffs that they sound like genuine rock songs. They're great straight blues numbers like Jesus Stood There Chicago and Have You Heard, with the most memorable hooks. And there are straighter non-12-bar rock songs like Master Sparks and Precious and Grace, with the most wonderful guitar playing. This is the epitome of blues rock. Okay, now my number one blues rock record of all time is Bluesbreakers by John Mayall with Eric Clapton, or the Beano album, whatever you want to call it. Okay, if you know anything about the genre, you expect this album at number one, but this is the album that turned the world to blues rock. No, it's the album that pretty much turned the world onto guitar-centric rock. This is John Mayall's first album from 1966, where he invites baby Eric Clapton into the band and lets him plug a Gibson into a Marshall for the first time in history, turn it up to 11 and let rip. Yeah, I'm not saying there haven't been albums as good since, but no one album had such an impact on guitar playing as this. Not only was Mayall introducing a white audience to much more contemporary, challenging blues than the things they had the Stones covering, like Bo Diddley and Howlin' Wolf, but Clapton was introducing the world to the sound of a guitar as a lead instrument, and it sounded great. This is a wonderful album to listen to alone, and its historic significance makes it easily the most essential blues rock album ever. If you don't have it, really, who are you? Okay, those are my 10 blues rock records. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why not tell me below?